and it just got to go behind my head. All right. Maybe not as mobile as I'd like to be. All right. That's difficult. But we're going to work on strong and mobile right here. So we're going to start off with just jogging. All right. So I got a little workout for you here. Should be a lovely time. But who am I? Who am I to be even telling you what to do for exercise? What am I? I'm some dude. I've been a personal trainer for over 20 years. I fancy myself being decently good at this, and this is just a little addition on there, just trying to serve more people. All right, trying to get a workout that's not so much about me trying to show off, but me authentically working, so you can see that it actually takes effort to do this stuff. All right, like a lot of times I see videos online where people look like they're making it look real easy. I'm gonna make it look kind of hard sometimes because it actually work. All right. But then also where it actually has some tips on how to do the exercise better. So it's not just like some sort of music and not even any talking, but you just like this cool sculpted body doing all sorts of moves that you're not exactly sure if you know how to do any of them anyway. All right, so that's an actual personal training type experience through the internet here. All right, so we're tapping back here. But also, I'm like a person. So I like to have like a little something about me. Oh yeah, I forgot the disclaimer. We should have a little disclaimer here. So make sure you are working out at your own free will. If something hurts, don't keep doing it. I can't see what you're doing, so make sure it's on you to make sure you're doing it really, really well. So in personal training, I can watch you, but in here I can't. I can't watch you as well. So you got to take that on, right? And then a little something about me. This is a picture of my daughter, Hope, on a new step. And we bought one of these for my mother-in-law. She's recovering from a stroke, so she can get a lot more activity in. So for me, as I think about strong and mobile, I think about both of them. My mother-in-law, we're working on strength, trying to build up strength for her. And Hope, I think of mobile. She is way bendier than I am. All right, so a goal to be more like her. All right, stepping aside here, we'll get loosened up. And so what we have is we have 6 exercises, 1 minute each. We're going to run through them, take a 1 minute rest break, and then we'll run through them again and again and again. 4 rounds. 4 rounds. All right, why 4 rounds? Because the more sets we do for each muscle group, the more benefits we get. So more sets per week gives a greater benefit there. All right, so a little Frankenstein walk. So they found some of the best results come from doing 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week to that near failure point where you just about can't do anymore. So that is what we're looking for as we do these 4 sets, that we're getting to the place where we may not be able to do that many more reps. All right? So I have push-ups. I have a little squat hold here while I explain this here. We have push-ups. We have band row. You need a band for this workout. That's only one exercise you need it for. If you don't have a band, you could do a field goal squeeze, but it won't be quite as good of a workout. All right, you got the prone field goal reach. Then you have slide backs on one side. Oh, I do need a slider, forgot that. Yeah, you could do a lunge hold if you need to and go up and down, but we're gonna try to slide back a little bit on this one. So if you don't have one, you could do more of a lunge. So one side, the other side on the slide backs, and we have dry off the bench. All right, and you'll figure it out as we get going. That'll be a good thing. So my buddy Bobby is going to tell us when we're going. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, push-ups. All right. So set the hands out wide. Most people should probably be doing from the knees, coming down and pushing up. Really puff the chest out. All right. So as we push the chest out, as you come down, you work across the chest better. All right. So the muscle fibers run across the chest. And so if you don't push your chest out, you don't stretch those muscle fibers, and muscle fibers that are not stretched cannot flex very well. All right, and we do want to flex them because that's the area we're trying to work. So push the chest out at the very bottom and then push back up. Sometimes I'll even pause at the bottom just so I can push my chest out more and then push back up. Make sure the head is going out in front of the hands. Notice how my head is coming out in front here. Shoulders are away from the ears, chest is out. I'm not dipping my head towards the ground. I'm really trying to keep my head back a little bit. And that gets me, lots of good work. All right, good. Now we have the band row. So you take the band, loop it around the feet. We're gonna reach through and grab that middle also. So I'm holding the handles and the middle, and I'm squeezing back here. All right, so squeezing back, pushing the chest out, pull back, pause maybe, and then come back forward. So if you wanna get more work, don't come all the way out. Every time you come all the way out, it's a rest break. So you come apart most of the way out and squeeze it back. All right, so that keeps the tension in the muscle. It's gonna be a bit more tiring that way. Which is kind of the idea, because we do want to get to where the muscle may not be able to do anymore. Which sounds terrible, but that's where the benefits are. All right, push that chest out, sit nice and tall, do a good head position while you're doing this. I'm gonna pause a little bit more, make it a little bit smaller to get that maximum burn I can. All right, so then we have the prone field goal reach. Now we have something for mobility. This is what I'm not very good at. All right, reaching out and then into the field goal squeeze. All right, so we're building strength, the arms. We want to keep some mobility in those shoulders, so we've got this one in here. So we get the reach, try to get the hands off the ground, then come back to the squeeze, hands still off the ground. Whew. Reach and squeeze. Abs are pulled in a little bit, butt's tight a little bit so your core is set up well. Oh, yeah. And this really burns my shoulders quite a bit. It's difficult because when your shoulders are tight, it's hard to get your hands to lift very high off the ground, and my shoulders are pretty tight. So it's a lot of work here. Whew. If you're really tight, you could just kind of slide your hands on the ground, but if you can, try to keep them off the ground. All right, so now we have the slide backs. Got a slider here. I'm gonna put my back foot on the slider. All right, keep your weight on your front leg, dropping in, squeezing up. I like the slider because when you use it, you can't rely on your back leg so much. All right, so we're trying to rely on front leg to do this work. And I'm standing up, and the standing up is what brings that back leg in. So I'm not pushing off the back leg, I'm pulling myself up with the front leg. Getting nice and low, pushing the heel down on that front leg, making sure that knee isn't crossing the midline here, and staying pushed out to the side a bit there. And this, done really well, my butt is lighting up. All right, it's working, especially when you hit the lowest part of this slide back. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that I got. All right, other side. Squeezing up, slide it back, squeeze it up. Now a lot of times I'll give a little reach out sometimes just so I can push my butt back a little bit more as I'm doing this. Whew. But really think about, as you're coming up, pushing down through the heel. The focus will create more work. More focus equals more work. All right, drop in, squeeze up. Drop in, try to get as low as you can. If this is really rough on the knees, you could just do a hold and stay. But it's usually that halfway point is a point that's really tough on the knees. All right? But it does make you stronger if you can do it without any knee pain, all right? So you don't want to just avoid it, because maybe, but if you are getting pain, work on the bottom first. All right? Then we've got the dry off the bench. I'm gonna get in a squat here, and I'm gonna dry off the bench. All right? Moving side to side, my butt across an imaginary bench. All right? All right, so it's a strength and mobility move right here. Trying to keep the chest up. I get this groin stretching in here. My hips are stretching as I shift side to side here. Oh, and I got a minute rest coming up and I'm excited. Whew. Stay low. Try to stay in the tension of it, but don't round your back. All right, so chest is out, tailbone sticks out behind you. And so that way it really does work on hip mobility. If your back rounds, you're no longer working on hip flexibility and mobility. You're doing something bad for your back. All right, so chest out, butt out. Oh, yes. A little rest here. Woo. So we got a minute pause here. The minute pause is so the next set still looks okay. All right? You know, so we take a little break, you know, so that the quality is going to be up. If we went straight away into it, we still could do it, but the muscles won't have as much recovery. My breathing, my cardiovascular ability will become more of a limitation than my strength. All right, and so we want to get to where, if you're talking a little less than I am, it's helpful. But just breathe. Get yourself ready a little bit. And just that time not flexing something for a moment, you can catch up a little bit on the oxygen supply. And now you got a better chance of hitting another set really, really, really well. All right, so we got push-ups here. All right, hands out wide. Push the chest out and press up. Don't spend too much time at the top of the push-up. That's also a rest break. Get to the bottom, push the chest out, and then press back up. Oh yeah. If I do better quality push-ups, I can't do as many. But I get what I really need out of them though. Not shoulder pain, but work in my muscles. Oh, all right, got it. I got the failure, and I still have a couple seconds left here. All right, so if you can't do any more, don't do yucky ones. All right, just take the pause. Take the pause. All right, so loop the band around the feet. All right, can I take it out wide? Grab that middle, pull back. Now I'll do like a little bit of width in the middle there. I don't know, should I face you? That's weird, right? Never mind. You see a really good view of my groin, yeah. All right, my shoulders down, chest is out. But I got a little bit of width between my hands here. You know, in this shot, you can see a little bit over my shoulder there. All right, so there's a little bit of distance between there so I can open my chest up more. I'm not pulling from the exact same point there. Big squeeze now. If you can, the timing matters. If you can push your chest out first and then pull back, it's better. Push the chest out and pull back. Push the chest out and pull back. It's called scapulothoracic rhythm, and that is very valuable to decrease shoulder injuries and neck pain and all that sort of stuff like that, all right? Having that good timing. All right, so we got the prone field goal reach here. So prone is laying face down, reaching out. When I think about that one, to remember what prone and supine is. Prone is you're prone to getting stepped on right now. You can't see it coming. And supine is like recline. You're laying on your back. You're reclining. This is the prone position. All right. You're vulnerable. Squeeze. Reach. Squeeze. And reach. Squeeze. Shoulders away from the ears, chest is out, and reach. Keeping those hands about as high off the ground as you can while doing these. Whew. All right, slide backs. Get to rest our upper body a little bit while we work the lower body here. Good, dropping in, squeezing up. Remember, think about you initiate movement with that front leg. All right, and that's why the slider is there actually. So hopefully, it's almost impossible to initiate moving the back leg. As much as that back leg can be just a dead leg, that's what we want here. Just there so you don't fall over. If you're gonna fall over anyway, maybe do this next to a chair or something like that so you can stabilize yourself a little bit there. Range of motion I consider more important than being able to go the whole minute. All right, so it's better to go low and fail out than to not go as low, because we want strength and mobility, not just strength and inflexibility. Whew. All right, we don't want to get tighter because we're working out. All right, sliding back and up. Heel digging down in this front leg. Your posture, upper body matters, so keeping your chest out, the back nice and straight is really, really important here, because again, keeps the work in the hip there. If I start rounding and slouching, I no longer am working my hip, my butt, my glutes, my 6 deep lateral rotators. I'm getting my hamstring as well. A lot of things get missing. Whew. Hopefully the quads burning too. Whew. Whew. But get that bottom, that heel dig out of the bottom of that exercise. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was good timing. It's pretty much done there. All right, dry off the bench. Whew. Whew. Drying off the bench. Shifting side to side here. Kind of a wide stance. And I feel that tightness in through here. Now, this is one of the things I am maybe one of the worst at in the world. Not the world, but I was on a track team in college, and we had to step under the hurdles for like a mobility exercise. So, man, you can imagine like you're stepping underneath a hurdle here. I was the only one on the team who couldn't make it under the hurdle. It's just so tight. And that was around the time I ruptured disc in my lower back. So it makes sense. Tight hips, really bad for the back. Chest out, butt out here, stretching in there. For me, there's a lot of groin and some hip. It may be a little bit different for you. All right, whew. A little pause here. Ooh, yeah. Oh, so nice. So rest again, and we'll go again. So we're halfway in the workout there, getting some mobility. I'm gonna do a little hamstring stretch while I'm waiting here. So one that I've been kind of enjoying recently is the elephant walks. If you tip over like this, start with the legs bent, and just straighten one at a time. You can do it with your hands down on something. Oh, you go ouch, ouch, ouch. But it puts the emphasis on the hamstring instead of the back as much. If you just stand up here and just reach down, a lot of times that mobility is going to come from your lower back. And that, you don't need that. You don't need that. All right, push-ups. All right, we're down. Heads out in front of hands, dropping in, pushing up. Here's third set here. Should start getting a little bit harder, a little bit sooner. But at least the rest break allows us to do some kind of good job. Push the chest out, squeeze the shoulders away from the ears. We're trying to use the neck a little less. Back of the neck. Use your armpits and chest more. All right. Hopefully you feel a little bit there too. All right, grabbing the handles, loop the feet, grab the middle. If this is too much for you, trying to get tired, you can just crisscross the handles and you can get a pull from there. All right, it's a little bit easier. Let's be honest, it's a lot bit easier actually, but I know I can handle it, so I'm gonna stay with this one. Squeeze them back there. Push the chest out, shoulders down. It depends on the tightness of your band too. Push the chest and squeeze back. Push the chest and squeeze back. Our main goal is not how far we can move the hands, all right? Main goal is how far can I move my shoulder blades? Trying to get this big squeeze in there. It's a different area. If we can put priority on that, we're gonna have a much better chance at long-term shoulder health. What other kind of shoulder health do you want, right? A short-term one? All right, prone reach. Reaching out, squeezing back. Reaching out, squeezing back. Oh, this is draining. After those 2 exercises, shoulders, the deltoids burn in there. That's that muscle on top of the hand, the top of the arm right here. Whew, underneath my hand, as I was demonstrating that. Reach it out, squeeze it in. Shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. Reach out, keep those hands up high, and come back. Keep the hands up high. Strength with mobility. Upper back strength and mobility. Very valuable, especially to undo all the slouching that is done in real life. Slide backs. All right. Slide it back and coming on up. Slide it back, dig that heel in, drive up. Trap it in, squeeze up. If I really focus, I can make it die out a lot faster. Can you? So I'm not coming all the way up. Not taking the rest break on top. Coming right back down again. And really initiating with that front leg, dragging that back foot in as I lift up. All right. Oh boy. Oh, it's happening. All right. Try to keep that posture good even when you're failing out, all right? It'll happen slower. It'll be more uncomfortable. But that's okay. It's an investment. Difficult short-term choices lead to easier long-term outcomes. All right? Working out is a difficult short-term choice. Doing it correctly is a difficult short-term choice. Chest out, push that heel down. Don't come all the way to the top. But the long-term builds strength. Extra mobility, and you feel like you're still a little bit like a puppy. All right? If I can keep us focused, it's really gonna be tough. And all those specific leg muscles. That's good. All right, dry off the bench. Wide stance. The wider you go, the harder this is on the mobility side too. For me, especially as I cross to the middle, my groin notices it. All right. Chest is out, back is straight. Drop the hips down, but try to keep the chest up. There's like a brick wall in there for me. It doesn't need to be there, but it is. So I'm working up against that point where I can't quite get any farther because of how tight it is. I'm not gonna smash my way into it, but I'm right on the edge of it, pressing my way towards it. Oh boy. Oh, it's my butt. Boy, I hope you felt that too. My glutes were really lighting up there as I was stretching all these other things too. We got one more round and that'll be good for today. All right, pretty quick workout. You know, it's really not that long, but 4 sets of some really good quality exercises. All right, so we got the pushing action, we got the pulling action, you know, we've got some mobility stuff, and we've got these legs really working. I like single leg work, like lunges and split squats, especially when you don't have extra weights around. All right, so you can get a really big challenge, because sometimes if you're just doing a squat at a certain ability level, it's not going to be challenging anymore. But a single leg squat There's very few people that's not challenging for. All right, we're almost there. Let's do it, push-ups. All right, dropping in, pushing up. Dropping in, push the chest out, push up. All right, if it starts getting really hard, you can do it up on the stairs, on the countertop, or just do one, rest a little while, do another. Chest is out, head's back. Holy moly. That was good. Still got a couple seconds to spare. Oh. And I was done. Those were cooked. All right. Loop the feet. Grab the middle. Squeeze it. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, the row's not as hard as the press for me. So I gotta try to really work it to try to get more out of it. The more I can think about it, the more I think about how the shoulder blades are moving back there, the more work I get in. Shoulders down the whole time, chest is out, push the chest and squeeze back. You'll notice my elbows are not traveling very far, getting about even with my body. If you're going back farther than that, probably not getting the shoulder blades to do the right thing. All right, got that sliding. Oh, no, wait, the prone. Don't skip the prone. That's some mobility. Squeeze it and reach it. Squeeze it and reach it. This caused a lot of core for me too. More on the reach out. That's where my tightness really shows up. Hard to keep the hands off the ground. Reach out there. Oh boy, that's pretty good. Come on, get a good squeeze. All right, now slide back. Nearly there. Upper body's done. Slide back, dig that heel in. See if we can get some maximum level effort out of this leg. Easy to do if you focus. Drop in, get that range of motion. Try to run out of room on the bottom there. Where your back knees going through the floor. For me, I might even be able to get my hip a little bit lower than knee level. That's really hard to come up from. The groin, the glutes, a lot of mobility right in here. Oh, that last one was real slow. All right, here we go. Light on the back foot. First couple aren't too bad. As you're doing this, make sure that front knee is behaving well. All right? Staying in its own lane a little here. Abs pulled in. My lower back can actually feel some of this is tired. That's great because it's a connector, it's a core connector through my body. It's not injured, it's just tired. Chest is out. Dig that heel in. Oh, come on. Golly. Oh. All right. Amazing, amazing work. Dry off that bench. All right. You're drying off that bench for somebody else, right? Because if you dry it off for yourself, it doesn't make sense. Your butt's already wet. Dry it off for the one who's coming, who's even greater than you. Chest out, butt out. Work on that mobility. Sink into the side. Stay low across the middle. Sink to the other side. Chest is out. Stick the tailbone out. Back is straight. It's not straight up and down, you notice I'm leaning forward. Oh, holy moly. Whew. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we did that. All right, don't leave yet. What kind of mobility workout would it be if we didn't stretch a little bit afterwards? All right, we switch my timer around 30 seconds, and we'll hit some basic stretches. All right. What's that picture say? Yeah, we're doing the hip. We're doing other hip. We're doing tricep. We're doing quad. We're doing hip flexor, hamstring, calf, and chest. All right, here we go. So the first one, knee pull in. First picture, top left. All right. Press that heel away. Pull that knee in towards you. Oh, 30 seconds. Whew. Oh, my hip is like cramping a little bit trying to do this. I'm gonna pull this knee towards the opposite shoulder a little bit, just to get a little extra stretch in that glute. Oh, because boy, that poor sucker did some work. Whew. Oh. All right, other side. Pull the other knee in. Whew. Pull that in. Press that heel on that bottom foot away from you well, so it keeps that leg straight as you're doing this. Knee towards opposite shoulder. Keeping that leg straight causes a little bit more extension in the lower back, all right? Which is good because this knee pulling is causing a lot of flexion in the lower back. We need to balance that out a little bit. Whew. All right, cross the ankle over the knee. Reach through, grab that bottom leg, pull it towards you. Oh. There it is. There's some of my tightness there. If you were very flexible, this leg could get really close to you. All right? But as you can see, not the case for me. I'm more flexible than I have been in sometimes in the past. But I'm not very naturally flexible. It's taken a lot of work to get what little I have. And what little I have is enough to keep my back from hurting all the time, which I love. I love it. Try to keep your tailbone on the ground here as you pull this towards you. Yeah. Nice. All right, we'll stand up. We'll go for hamstring. Tipping forward. Chest out, butt out. Back straight, big factor there. Stretching in the back of this leg here. Try to turn to face the heel of this foot here. All right? And then push the chest out. Don't round the back. Push the chest out to complete this stretch. Think about sticking the tailbone up in the air behind you and you'll feel it. All right, other side. Chest out. Tailbone is out. Back is very straight, so hopefully it looks like on the camera, right? Like you can see it. My back is straight, right? Thank you, Bobby. And try to keep your back straight. If you're not sure on some of these things, you might get in front of a mirror sometime and practice some of these things just so you can see what it looks like. Or you can make a weekly noon workout and then watch it later so you can see what your form's like. Works for me. All right, press that heel back behind you, push the hip forward, stretching out the hip flexor here. right. Pressing that heel back, push the hip forward. All right, so this one's a tricky one. So if you're not really feeling this stretch, your hip position matters. All right, so if you're tipping your hips forward, like you're spilling a bucket forward, you're not gonna feel it very much. Tip your hips back and then press your heel back. And that would be good. Like if you had a cool belt buckle, you're tipping it up so you can take a look at it. I happen to know what that's like because I do have a cool belt buckle. And I wore it on the third date with Sarah. And I came to the door and I rang her doorbell. She opened the door and she looked down. She said, "Your fly is open." Because it was too complicated. I couldn't handle more than one step. It was too much to do. All right, quad stretch. But I had it all figured out. I had the best comeback. I just told her, "I'm not used to wearing pants." That was good, right? It really put her at ease, I'm sure. Is this a real story? This is a real story, Bobby. So that's what really happened. And I'm not wearing pants that often. I got workout clothes all the time. A button, a zipper, and a belt buckle. It's a lot to, how do you not forget something, you know? All right, push the hip forward. Just the zipper you just forgot, that's all right? Sometimes you succeed in spite of things, not because of things. You know? I don't know if that made me marriage material right there or not. All right, so let's do the calf stretch. One foot's close to the wall, one foot's back behind, bend the front knee, press that heel back towards the ground. Get a nice stretch in there. Check your back foot, make sure it's straight ahead or slightly turned in. To maximize the stretch, you can push into the wall a little bit harder so you get a stronger stretch into that muscle. Calf tightness causes all sorts of foot pain and leg pain and knee pain. All right, switch sides. Press that heel down towards the ground. Even if it doesn't get all the way to the ground, you're just pressing into it, trying to get as much length through that back of the leg as you can. Bend this front knee. Whew. Right. Oh, strong stretch. Whew. Hopefully you got some good work in here. All right, gotta make sure you get the tricep stretch here. Point that up. Pat yourself on the back, reach it up there. This is also really good for shoulder mobility. If this one's tight on you, you do it more often. If it's loose on you, a lot of people are, particularly women, tend to be a little bit more loose on the shoulder joint here, which is good. It's good. All right, pat yourself on the back, point that elbow up in the air. Oh, stretching back in here. Point that elbow up. Push it behind you a little. Open up that armpit. The last one's going to be the chest stretch. Any moment now. Oh. All right. So take the hand about head height on the wall. Shoulders down, chest out, turn away. You can do it with the arm on the wall, the elbow on the wall too. I like just having a little bit of separation on there. I can open up my chest a little bit better that way. So drop the shoulder down, puff the chest out, turn away, reaching out, stretching across those fibers in the chest. Pushing the chest out and shoulders down is a big part of this one working. All right, other side. Ooh. Da-da-da-da. There it is. There it is. Our final stretch. You're in the final stretch now. Chest is out, shoulder down. Feel it raking across the chest here. All right. If it's getting into the shoulder joint or down the arm, you don't have your chest out and your shoulder down enough. All right. You're missing the pectoralis major. All right. So a little verse for you today before we head out. From the King James Version, because sometimes I like that one because it just sounds so Shakespearean and stuff, right? For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. You know, this one, I thought about this one today, and you just think about like all the stuff. How much of people's lives, my life sometimes, your life probably too, is driven by fear. You're worried about the things that are coming. You're worried about this, worried about that. What about this? What about that? There's wars and rumors of wars. There's all sorts of stuff. And it says God has not given us a spirit of fear. What has he given us instead? Of power. All right, so I think we need to make sure that we take some action. We act powerful. We do things. We take action. If you have power, you do something with it. Like there's an action, that is possible. You don't feel helpless. You feel like there's something you can do. All right, of love, of love. All right, fear. Fear and love have a tough time existing in the same place. All right, and so love, will push that fear out. So, what should you think about? Focus on the love, not on the things that you're worried about. All right, the love, care, concern, the wonderfulness that you have between you and God, you and your loved ones, and of a sound mind. How important is that nowadays with anxiety running amok on everybody? I heard a story recently, somebody was going to be showing a horse, and there's this daughter who was getting very anxious, to show this new horse. And so, the parents give them some medicine to help them with their anxiety. And you're going, oh, well, no. It's okay. It's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to worry some. But then with that, it needs to push you towards something bigger than that. Because if we're worried about these little things in the world, even wars and things like that seem big, in light of eternity, they are small. And if we can adapt that mental state, so really all these fears and concerns are hopefully going to push us towards something bigger, something greater, and a trust and faith that in the end, it is all going to be okay. And if in the end it's going to all be okay, don't spend too much time being scared. Don't waste too much time. Don't torture yourself with the anxiety. Use the anxiety to remind you of where your focus should be. All right, so let me say a quick prayer here. God, thank you for this spirit you've given us, of power, of love, a sound mind, the courage that you ask us to have, many times in the Bible there. Help us to take on that courage, be strong and courageous. Help us to do that. Not that courage, is a big part of being of courage is that there maybe is fear, but you act anyway. You take on that power, the power of action anyway. All right, so help us to be the kind of people who, instead of being scared of having a conversation with somebody, that we have the courage to speak the truth with love. Instead of being scared of what the future may hold, that we focus on the day and do this day well. And, help those who are going through some really hard stuff out there, to take on, the power, love, and sound mind that's available when we think of something greater than the problems directly in front of us. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. Hopefully that was a good time. I feel well worked. Hopefully you do too. Have fun. Be safe. See you next week. God bless.